Hello. Today we are going to talk about present simple. As a software developer, it's important to communicate effectively with our team members and clients. The simple present tense is one of the most common tenses used in English, and it's used to talk about actions or situations that are true now or that happen regularly. It's important that we remember that simple present can be used in affirmative statements, in negative statements, and yes, no questions, and also in open questions. Let's begin with the affirmative form. We are going to use the affirmative form to talk about things that are done regularly. In the affirmative form, we use the base form of the verb with all the subjects. For example, I write code, you write code, he, she, and it writes code, we write code, they write code. If you notice, for the subjects he, she, and it, we add s or es to the verb. This rule applies to most of the verbs in English. We can also use present simple with nouns. Here we have some examples using singular nouns and plural nouns. The developer writes code. The team collaborates on the project. The developers write code. The team members collaborate on the project. When we are using a singular noun, we apply the s and es rule to the base form of the verb. Now we are going to go over the negative form. In the negative form, we use the auxiliary verb do or does with the subject followed by not and the base form of the verb. For example, I do not write code, he does not write code. If you notice, when using he, she, or it, we use does. And one last thing about the negative statements, we can also use contractions. Contractions can help us to be more fluent when speaking. You can also use them on informal writing. So instead of does not, you can use doesn't, and instead of do not, you can use don't. For example, I don't write code or he doesn't write code. Now we are going to review interrogative statements or questions. There are two types of interrogative statements or questions. The first one is yes/no questions. We use this type of questions when we expect the answer to be yes or no. For example, do you write code? The answer can be yes, I do, or no, I don't. Another example, does he write code? Yes, he does, or no, he doesn't. The structure for this type of questions is do plus subject plus verb. Remember, when you are making a question, you do not need to add the s or es at the end of the verb, as you are already using the auxiliary do. Finally, we are going to review open questions. We are using open questions when we are expecting more information. Open questions usually start with question words such as what, where, how, and when. Here are some examples of open questions. What programming languages do you use in your project? What does the team prioritize? How do you manage your tasks and priorities? The structure is similar to the yes/no questions, but the only difference is that at this time we are adding a WH word. Great! We've covered all about present simple. Now you can use present simple on affirmative, negative, and interrogative statements to talk about your and your team's daily activities and routines at work. See you in the next video.